Sometimes people like try to sabotage themselves because they're afraid of being successful or afraid of moving to another city. Like when I say that I'm going to move to Prague and people say, okay, but who do you know there? And blah, 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 blah. I said, no, nobody. Wow, so what are you going to do there? And, well, I don't know yet. I have the intention of doing a doctorate degree over there, but I don't know yet. Where are you going to live? I don't know. You don't know anything. What are you thinking about? And I didn't know anybody here before coming to Philly. I just knew the secretary of the writing program at Temple through the phone. And so it's a chronicle about fear. It's a chronicle that everybody has fear about things, but that the beauty about having fear is that when you face it, you see that things weren't so scary as they seemed, and that the worst thing that you can do is not to go out and live your dreams and your changes and the things that you want to do with your life for pure fear. So, and that relates also with a chronicle that the main theme is risk. Of course, because it's linked also. It's like I took my car and I drove all the way to Martinsville, Virginia, to see a NASCAR race, because there's another Colombian that races there. He's doing very lousy, or a very lousy campaign actually. But like he used to be a big star, and I followed him. So, and I had access to the pit. So it was a 500-mile drive from here to Martinsville, Virginia. And I was going to do it at the same day, drive 500 miles on my way over there and drive back. So I actually had to get up like at 3:30 a.m. in order to be over there like at 2 p.m. for the race, and then come back here and be like back in Philly like at 3 a.m. again. It was like a 24-hour drive. And I was discussing it with myself, like, are you sure you really want to go? I want to go. It's a 1,000-mile drive. Yeah, I know, but I'm up for it. All the things that could happen in a 1,000-mile drive. Actually, I do, but I want to go and see the race. I'm free, and I'm not as scared of it. So actually, it's a very dynamic chronicle because it's a chronicle about the drive over there, and then the race that this guy almost won it, and then coming back, driving in the night with my eyelids almost falling, and the fight in between myself in order to maintain the pace and finally get back to Philly. And like there's people that know the story that something happened. That it's in the book, but
it's
and
the story.
At the end, it's true. It's true. If you risk it, of course there's the possibility of losing. It's one of the possibilities. But if you don't risk it, then you won't win. Never win. So if there's a possibility of losing, but it's even worse. Not doing things because there's a possibility of risk and of losing things.
One thing is one of the great things about Eduardo's book is that he reconstructs all the environments as a narrator, and he does it. I don't know how you do it because you need to remember a lot of facts and things. But then when I talk with people that really were with you at the moment, they're astonished. I don't know if it's because you take pictures or because you talk to them about it or because you write it. But one of the good things is that he's choosing fresh environments. Like for example, music concerts, NASCAR races, and soccer games. But there are two stories in this book that I find I found them very difficult to write, and I would like you to talk about them because also we share admiration for artists, you know, who doesn't? But it's about a performance artist, and it's about pain, it's about healing and mending, and it's about how far an artist can go in order to carry her message. Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. I mean, we've been talking about this in all the presentations that we've done, you know, in Argentina, Colombia, and New York. And I mean, for me, it's an honor because the character of these two chronicles, Healing and Mending, is sitting here with us. And you know, it was one of the beautiful things of coming to Philly, is that you know, it gave me the opportunity of being in contact with very important people that came here, and very important Colombians also, like for example the Pibe Valderrama and Cata Mejia, which is a very important Colombian performance artist. And the story is very interesting because like Cata is just an incredible performance artist, and she has the peculiarity that and you know, her story is a very difficult story because his brother was kidnapped and then killed by the FARC guerrilla. So all her work can be seen as, you know, the different stages of the loss of a person. And at the beginning, you know, you feel a lot of rage and pain, especially when it's a guerrilla group that it's killing your brother. So the pain, the anguish is amazing. So like one of her first work, which I didn't get to see, was Cata just throwing dishes and shouting and throwing dishes, breaking dishes against the wall. And you know, like I can imagine how it was. I don't have to be there to see it in my mind. And then, you know, I've had the possibility of seeing, you know, two performances which Cata has done. One which was in Brooklyn and was called Mending, where she took like two cabbages and, you know, she took the leaves away, apart, and then what she tries to do is to, you know, with a sewing thread, to reunite the leaves, only to show that the cabbage can't be put together again as it was, because what's broken is broken. So I, you know, like I use the chronicle like to explore this theme about what, you know, the impossibility of bringing back what's broken, what's lost, a life. And it's very touching. And you know, I also do a parallel with the history of my own family, because, you know, my mother sitting over there, she had to escape also from Czechoslovakia in 1952, and you know, her life was never the same. It was broken. And me being her son also felt it. The fact that, you know, our life history was broken. So the theme there is that something, you know, that can't be, it's the impossibility of fixing something that can't be fixed, that it's already lost. And for me, it's just, I mean, just seeing Cata's work is just fantastic, because it's really deep. It's really deep. It's very deep, and and it's actually for me it's an honor, you know, to be to have had the possibility of chronicking, mending, and then afterwards another performance that Cata did in Lexington in '46, which is actually not in this book, but will be in a future one. So, you know, like I do an in-depth analysis of this theme there.
It's quite, for me, it's quite difficult, you know, to talk about somebody else's art. This is Cata Mejia, you know, we have a couple of performers over there.
I don't hear.
Okay, sorry. But it's a little bit difficult sometimes to talk or to interpret, you know, the other artists' work, because sometimes we are in our own world and through our own view. But I just wanted to say to Cata that through Eduardo's chronicles, you know, a few performance artists in my hometown, tiny little town, they know you and they really admire you, and I'm going to tell them that I was here with you in Philadelphia, you know, you were in the presentation. Anyway, we were talking about art, and this book talks a lot about art, and it does it in a very refreshing way. I could tell that it has a few more chronicles. You know, they talk about politics, which is something that Eduardo, you know, try to you know, talk about his own view, and you know, to reproduce all that political environment that when Colombia and Venezuela were at risk of getting into a war, and which was a very big deal at the moment. And finally, I would like because basically what we are sharing is a story. It's a story of coincidences. It's a story that it's really marked by chance a little bit. You know, two people from the same continent, from different countries, from different mother and father, you know, get together and they get to know each other and decide to do something about it. But it turns out that they're connected from the past, and something, you know, some crazy episodes and coincidences happen to them. What can you tell about that chronicle that you wrote in El Salvador on the way to the volcano?
Okay, on the way to Izalco volcano, it's a chronicle that tells our story. You know, the story of two people that are called the same name, the same last name, and that look very much alike. And I told the story there because I was with my mother and my father in Salvador in January 2011. And we went to this beautiful volcano that's called Izalco, which actually has like the conic shape, like in a drawing of a kid. And you can see the crater from another volcano, which is called Cerro Verde, like Green Mountain, which is an extinct volcano. And you know, two days afterwards, I wanted to go and do the hiking of the Izalco volcano, because you can go all the way to the crater, and it's a crater with fumes. It fumes, so it's actually an active volcano, and it's very interesting. So, you know, like I took the car. Actually, I was very late. It was like a 1 hour and a half drive. I was driving like very responsibly, like you know, like 30 or 40 miles above the speed limit in a very unsafe highways, like the ones in El Salvador. But you know, I was fighting against the watch, and in a way that, you know, I like the feeling of, you know, of trying to see if I can make it or not, you know, and putting myself on those situations where you don't really know if you can make it or not, you know. And so I'm rushing to get there, and you know, I'm like 20 minutes away from 11 o'clock, which is the hour where the hike leaves. So like I get to the volcano complex. I turn right. I start going like 70 miles an hour through a third grade road, even more dangerous than the one that I was going before. And then when I'm going to start moving up, going up to Cerro Verde, then there's this guy like hitchhiking and doing like a face of please take me. And then I debated it in my head because El Salvador is this place where the Mara Salvatruchas are. The Mara Salvatruchas is like a guerrilla type of group in the city. Very, very dangerous. And and I debated it in my head, and then I said, look at the guy's face. He wouldn't be able to kill a fly. So I opened the door for him, and he was like light colored. In his hair, he had some sunglasses. He looked American, So we started talking, and he tells me he's from New York, but he lives in Cairo. And so I tell him, look, like I just finished a novel, which takes place in Cairo. And I told him I wrote the novel with an Argentinian friend of mine, which lived in Cairo. So, and I tell him, well, what do you do over there? And he said, no, I work in the American University at Cairo, in the library. So I said, okay, my friend, he studied there, a master's in public administration, and his wife was an English teacher there, and he told me what was his wife's name. I said Angela. He said, Angela McCullum? I said, yeah. Are you talking about Eduardo Bechara? So, at this point I just couldn't believe the coincidence, like Eduardo lived in Cairo for 3 years, so this actually was one of the best friends of Eduardo. So actually we start going up like madman to see if we can reach the Salco trek, because he was also he wanted to go up the crater also. It turned out that we got there like 5 minutes late. We told the guards like, okay, no, we'll just go running and like meet with the other people that are already left. He said, no way, you start going down and you'll get you'll get robbed. So we actually didn't make it, So we started thinking about all the possibilities about it was just amazing, to meet this a friend of Eduardo's in the middle of nowhere in El Salvador, and how our life actually has been linked by different stories that are like the same. Like, for example, we like our life was connected from before. Like, why don't you tell them the story of Valerie Hosman, like really quickly?
Well, basically,